Nairobi, graduated in 2021. Yeah, maybe some of you know me, maybe some don't. I finished pharmacy school and then did my internship in Nairobi. And then after that, after the registration, I went back to Tanzania. So I come from Tanzania, not from Kenya, but I studied in Kenya. And then there I also worked for 1 year in a hospital. And thereafter, I went for my master's. So currently I'm in Switzerland and I am I'm doing my LLM. LLM is a Master of Laws, and my specialization is compliance. I began my studies the beginning of the year. So yeah, the semester was starting in February, but I was here from January. And yeah, now I'm on my summer break, which is soon ending, and we'll go back to university next month in September. That's a short intro, but I was to talk about the transition, my transition moving from Kenya, let's say Kenya, because Tanzania was only there for 1 year, to here. It was nice, like it's bittersweet. You're coming to a new country and it's a different weather. It was so cold when I arrived here, and I am not used to this kind of weather. You know, we have a warm weather in Kenya, and here it was super cold. And then what else? People here, the Swiss people, they're nice. I've come to learn that it's part of their culture. They can seem very cold, but actually that's just how they are. It's really a cultural thing. And now I embrace it and I'm okay with it. Sorry, I hope let's continue. My laptop says it will go off at some point. If so, I will directly join with the phone. I hope that's not a problem. Yeah, so another thing about living in Switzerland, it's a country that speaks many languages. So they're speaking English, they're speaking German, they speak French, they speak Italian as well. My university is in Fribourg, Canton Fribourg, and this is a French-speaking canton. And where I live here, it's a German-speaking place. So yes, it can be confusing as much as majority of people here speak English, but they prefer to speak in their language of their canton. So yeah, with that being said, I am now learning German as well. I already did French back in Kenya at Alliance Francaise, so that's okay. But with German, I have to learn it. So sure. Now we move to my journey to doing the LLM. So why did I come to do this LLM in compliance here in Switzerland? In my opinion, I think the pharmacy profession is influenced by many factors. Like we have political, like the politics affects our profession. The legal system affects our profession. The social system affects our profession. And for me, it was more for personal, I think more personal, because I did face some issues while transitioning from like Kenya to my country. And it's like, oh, the pharmacy law here is different and the pharmacy law in this country is different. And as a pharmacist, you end up like seeking legal knowledge, which we don't learn this in the university. You're just doing like, pharmacology, pharmacognosy, all this stuff. And we are lacking the legal knowledge of it. And we're having people who are not pharmacists being there for us for the legal things, So yeah, that was more of a personal reason for me why I wanted to do compliance. And also, I realized for myself that I'm less into the clinical pharmacy because I don't know, I have a very soft heart, I want to say that. And being at the hospital, it's interesting to learn something new, but then also it's like I was carrying patients' burdens with me back at home. And I also did not like the routine of things like just in pharmacy. And then, yeah, so I chose to go for the legal side of pharmacy. And presentation for this, so I'm just really speaking from top of my head. My class, for example, I am only me and one other person. We are of different working for the General Assembly, stuff like this. And in the beginning, when I joined, it was so intimidating because I'm not used to hearing all this legal language and just being around lawyers. But I'm appreciating being in the class now because I'm really like combining, because they're also learning pharma stuff, but they've had to really present some pharmaceutical issues as lawyers, and it's giving them a challenge. And for me, I'm now learning the other side, like, oh, okay, so this is how the laws are done. And here in Switzerland, it seemed to be such a, I would say, hot cake to be both a pharmacist and a compliance person, because they want people to people who, these compliance officers, like for the pharmaceutical companies, they wish to have somebody who has a pharmaceutical knowledge. And as a pharmacist, you already have this. And yeah, so that's, I would say, it's like a plus. And yeah, what else did I want to talk about? So we also know that in the, like this, we also learn in school, GMP, GDP, SOPs, and the like. All these things require regulation. And who makes the regulation? We are always finding it, but we've never asked ourselves, like, oh, how does that come to be a thing? Why are we doing it that way? So there is a compliance officer behind it. And I think it's good for us to, for me, I would say in this case, or if anybody is interested in that, I think it's good for pharmacists to make sure that we are adhering to legislation and regulation and being at the core part of it, being amongst these experts who make these documentations, I would say. Yeah, so another thing we have there is, I would say, also being a pharmacist and a compliance, with compliance knowledge, it opens, I would say, more doors to what you can do, because you come with a lot of pharmaceutical knowledge, medical knowledge. All this is very important, but we are also kind of competing with the doctors, because they also, like, they have this knowledge, and pharmacists, they also, you guys have it. But when you combine a bit of legal knowledge to it, you don't necessarily become a lawyer, but you can really be involved in my opinion, I think you can be involved in bigger projects regarding regulatory of the pharmaceutical practice. And for me, this is my interest right now, and I wish to further specialize in that. Yeah, and soon I will start my internship, and I am looking forward to learn more from the compliance officers who are pharmacists, and really see what they do in the industry. How are they really shaping the pharmacy career? Yeah. So really, I would say that's that is my what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I am open to any questions, and yeah, and I don't know if anybody wants to know anything more. I am open to also share that with you. Yeah, because for me, I'm not yet practicing. I'm just studying. I'm almost finishing the master. It's a 1-year master, and when I finish my master, then now when I start the internship and then I go to the job industry, maybe I'll be able to really say more. But this is as much as I can share for now. And yeah, so thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, Elma. I personally have a question, and then to the rest, if you have a question, just type them in the chat
Yes.
box or, unmute. Yes, so
Yeah.
could you enlighten us on the documentation needed for relocating, say, from Kenya or from whichever country to Switzerland, or your personal experience?
Okay. So my personal experience, I think it's best to talk about that one, but because I don't know how it is for other places. But I think Kenya and Tanzania, we're more like the same. For me, I was lucky to get a scholarship. I did not talk about this earlier, but yeah, through a contact I knew here, I applied to a university and then I gave them my transcripts and everything, and they were happy with it. And they were also like, here they really praise pharmacists. It's like you're a pharmacist, everybody's like, oh my God, that's a pharmacist. It's not like in Kenya, you're a pharmacist and you're just like, I just come for some locum and whatever. So my university director was very happy with my transcripts, and I was offered a scholarship, 50%. And with having that, I need to get my charger, just one moment.
All right, the rest, if you have questions, type them in the chat box.
I'm just going to at any point. Oh, sorry. Now I'm very far from this. I'm just going to get an extension. It's very quick. That's perfect. Now we will not be disconnected. Okay. So I'm sorry for that. Where was I? Yeah, so the documentation. Since I was already admitted now and I had the scholarship, I had the letter from the university that said they were admitting me and giving me the 50% scholarship. And then I had to, then I had to start the visa process pretty much. So with these letters, you go to the embassy. I can share this with Shannon, which she can also maybe share with the rest of you in the group. And there's a document that has a list of things that you need. And part of the thing that you need is financial proof. And this is where it's not so nice because they're asking for a lot of money. They want to see 22,000 francs in their account. So for reference, 22,000 francs would be like $25,000. And they need to have this proof of money, and it has to be in your account. And when you can show that, then it should be easy. And what else did you require? You don't pay for the visa itself because you're a student. A student is supposed to get a visa for free. and you don't go through an interview. So for me, for example, I had all the documents that I needed, and my university is in Fribourg. So Fribourg is a French-speaking canton. And here, so I had to actually translate my documents to French because somehow that is their language of order, and they're all wanting the documents to be in French. So I translated all of them, which was my transcripts, my degree. I had to show the proof of money, and then what else is there? You don't need to show anything to do with your parents. It's that, and then you give your CV, your resume, and you need to give a motivation letter. And then you call the embassy and ask for an appointment to just drop the documents. So when you go there, you just drop them. There's no questioning, nothing. And the documents are then sent to Switzerland, where now the immigration here scrutinize everything and then revert back to your country. In this case, for me, it was back to Tanzania, but they sent me an email and they said I could be granted the visa, and within 3 months of arrival, I need to get a resident permit. And yeah, then the rest is easy. You just get your visa, you get the stamp, you travel here, and you declare you've arrived in the country, and then they will give you a resident permit, and then you'll need to have a health insurance within 14 days. And yeah. But I can share the document that is summarizing everything down there. But in summary, that's what is needed.
All right, thank you. And I'd also like to inquire which challenges or maybe any particular challenges that you faced during that process that you can highlight on, or any setbacks that you'd advise anyone who is maybe applying to take note of.
For me, the biggest challenge I faced was they rejected my initial bank statement, because I was banking with ABSA, and they have a list of banks that they give. And this list of banks is not, there's no any bank that is actually in Africa on this list. And so I was just going to give them my bank statement. And when I gave the ABSA statement, they rejected it by saying it was not on the list. And I had to write an email to the university director that they've offered a list that does not have a bank in my country, and they're rejecting my bank statement, where also I'm not in the country yet. And then somehow my university had to intervene with some immigration lawyer, and they called them and could bank with Bank of Africa. So I had to transfer the money from ABSA to Bank of Africa, open a new account of Bank of Africa, and then showed again this. Waiting is not too long. It's like in 2 months you have it.
Oh, interesting. 2 months is not really long. Okay. Another
Well,
yes. Another question, since I'm seeing, people are not asking these questions. Another question from my side is, so as you're transitioning
open the chat.
Oh yeah. So as you're transitioning now to, Switzerland. Okay. As you're transitioning now to Switzerland, could you maybe elaborate, or in case you have knowledge of, because maybe there are like community pharmacists and say hospital pharmacists, or pharmacists in general, could you maybe briefly highlight on how the field of practice is like that side for those who have any interest in that, briefly to the best of your knowledge?
Okay. I might not have a lot of information yet, but currently I am trying to get registered here. So I have given my degree, my license, to there's a whatever, some association, which is supposed to kind of evaluate your degree and see if it could match to what is here. It's unfortunate because for people out of the EU, they have to do a lot of scrutiny. But if you're from EU, you submit and somehow they get back to you and tell you should go for like a practicum, like a training, an elective of some sort. And after the elective period, then you can become a pharmacist even without doing the exam. But those who come from third countries, as they say, third worlds, we have to give it to them, and then they scrutinize if it's good. And if it is good, so I'm waiting to hear back from them. I submitted my documents a week ago, but it is possible to practice as a pharmacist, though there will be some examination and I think a longer training. So that's as much as I know now. When I know better, when I have a response from them, I can give a better answer.
All right. There's some questions now in the chat box from Marcy going downwards.
Okay. Marcy, yeah. As a pharmacist and compliance officer, would you specifically target pharmaceutical companies for work? I would say mostly yes. You'll be more into the pharmaceutical companies because that is where most rules are being made. But I believe that pharma compliance people can also work in private companies. They can also work in the food industry, because that's also something that my director told me as I was trying to apply my internship. And she said, yeah, just you can go to biotech, you can go to the food industry. So it's you're kind of wide because you're not really practicing as a pharmacist. And in this case, even you don't need to be like a registered pharmacist here. You just have a pharmacy degree from somewhere, and now you're a compliance officer. And yeah, but in the hospital and the community, I think they don't need these people. Just like in Kenya, you'll never hear of these people who are like in community and doing some regulations. Yeah. Are you allowed to work while studying? Yes, I'm allowed to work while studying, only after 6 months of being in the country. So for me, it was from July. That's when I could start working officially. Yeah, because also they're very strict here. We have a classmate who is from Cameroon. He is a lawyer, but somehow he looked for an odd job before his 6 months period. And the officers caught up with him and he got deported. So yeah, after 6 months, you're allowed to work. Okay, how did you land on picking your master's field? For me, I always had after being in Kenya and doing some locums and just being in the hospital and the community pharmacies, I kind of did not like it. And always we used to hear like people saying, oh, you should do RA is better. Everybody talked about regulatory affairs. So it just drew me to want to know more about RA, because RA, of course, is more marketable. And so with that at the back of my mind, and then also I spoke to, like I have a friend here that I spoke to concerning this pharma compliance. She's not a pharmacist, but we just talked about it because she knows how it's like, and she kind of gave me nice advices like, oh, in Basel, because Switzerland is like the hub of pharmacy. I would say all the big pharma, they're here, like Roche, Novartis, Lonza, all that you can imagine. And yeah, so she kind of made me like it, want to try it. And yeah, I thought going for a master's would be the best decision than doing the certifications in RA. And then this way it's broader for me in what field I would of compliance I would like to work. Yeah. I hope I answered the question. Do we have any other?
There's one above, the one from Michelangelo.
Ah, sorry, I didn't see it. What could be the other pharmacy related, maybe apart from compliance, that can be done here? Pharmacy related. Here they have, I think they have a scarcity of pharmacists in my opinion, and they're cherishing all their pharmacists that they have, like in the pharmacy, in the hospitals, in the community pharmacies. But other pharma related, apart from compliance, you mean like which two disciplines can be combined? Because like pharmacy and compliance, it's I mean it's more of like doing law and doing pharmacy at the same time. I don't know if this is the question. I'm not sure if I'm understanding it well. But from what I have not met many pharmacists, honestly. I will meet one, Mr. Patrick, at some point soon. He's from Bayer, and maybe through him I'll get to learn about what other pharmacists are doing here. But yeah, I also don't know that much. And are there any scholarship for the field? Hospital pharmacy. Hospital pharmacy. So okay, here there's two. They have two big universities that are offering pharmacy, and I honestly have not checked if they're offering scholarships, but I know that for master's programs, scholarships are always there, but it depends with the university and at what percent they can give you. So in this case, I can share with Shannon the universities that I know here that offer pharmacy, and you can have a look at their clinical pharmacy, hospital pharmacy program that they have that you would be interested in. But I'm also more than willing to make a call for you or something if that helps. Okay, I need to go down. What is the name of the scholarship you applied? So for me, I got a regional scholarship, but this is directly from the university, not the ones that you apply like Chevening Common, these Commonwealth ones. No, it's the university that offered me the scholarship. So yeah, and they call it regional scholarship. Mm-hmm. How has it been adapting the people, culture, environment? It has been good, I would say. I am having now some friends from the university, and we get to hang out sometimes. Yeah, the culture, I'm also getting used to it. It's just like, okay, whatever. It's a different way of living, and yeah, I'm also just adapting to that. And the environment, it's nice here. It's so clean. They're all following the rules, like, and they like to report, by the way. Like literally you would drop a paper and somebody will call the police and say that you littered the ground. And yeah, and then the food also, eating a lot of cheese and a lot of bread. Yeah. Michael Angela said yes, I don't know to what. Oh, thank you. Is no in French a requirement. No, for my university, it's not a requirement because I'm in a faculty of law and it's international. Like my class has people from everywhere. I'm from Tanzania, there's one from Nigeria, one from Cameroon, and then we have many from Russia, some people from Brazil, some people from Switzerland, some from Germany, some from Italy. So our language of teaching, they're teaching us in English, but for just the daily living in the country, it would be nice to learn some language because also it's the same for the job I applied for. Basel, where we have the big pharma companies, it's a German speaking canton, and German knowledge, having some German knowledge, and this is why I'm actually learning German, but it's not really like a requirement to unless you go to a university that is teaching in French, then yes, you have to learn it. But for my university, we are taught in English, so I don't have to do it. But for work, when you want to work here, it's speak a language other than English.
Okay. One final question, just in case there's anyone else with a question, they'll type in the chat box. Yeah, but as we close, oh, okay. There's a question in the chat box. But before that, I had a question. So you mentioned they were looking at your transcript majorly. So do they need you to have a license, pharmacy practicing license, or immediately after you've gotten your papers and all that from the university, you can apply for pharma compliance?
Well, for me, because I applied it after, of course, I already had my license, but I don't think having a license is a necessity for the masters. But providing the transcript, yes, that's a necessity because they need to really see how you did in your studies. Yeah, but not a master with a license. But for my registration, because I want to be registered here as a pharmacist, they need the license, yes. Okay, what are your career plans post-graduation? My career plans. Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, I am going to start my internship, so I want to actually also get into the field and really work with the people and see how it is. And alongside, as I'm trying to get my registration. So if both work together, that I like my pharma compliance already, I like it honestly, and that I get registered, it will be, yeah, I will just want to continue working as a compliance officer, but also could do maybe pharmacy consultations, because when I'm registered, I will be allowed to be a consultant for that.
Great. All right. If there are no more questions from the rest, going once, twice. Okay. Okay. So on behalf of Nupsa and my entire team, I'd like to thank you so much for, sparing this time to share this with us. And the meeting has been recorded and we'll share to the rest, as well as you, of course. And for those who need any more information from her, feel free to reach out to me. Yes, and I'll send the same to her. All right. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining and for listening. And I'm sorry for the glitch with my charger. Yeah. So if anybody would want to know something more, yes, please reach out to Shannon and she can write to me. And yeah, I am really available to answer questions and to help.
All right. Thank you. We can all live at our own pleasure.
Okay, I wish you a good night.
Good night.